Hello, hi, Ms. Rowena. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you, and I'm delighted to be here.
Great, thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us here in APU, Malaysia. So it's great to have you here. So, alright, Ms. Rowena, you are from Staffordshire University, UK, and one of the lecturers design programs in UK. Yeah. So we have our students from design programs here. We are running the SU programs as well, and we would like to. We understand that Staffordshire University has been offering creative design related program for a long time.
Yes.
Can you please share with us some history and achievement of SU design program?
Well, the university's been there for over 100 years now, and it grew out of a technical college, which was aimed at giving people skills appropriate to the local factories, the local industries, and that included ceramic design. So out of that, over the last 50 years, it's developed even more so that we've got creative courses and become more specialised and more adapted to the modern technologies. So we have diverse courses that range from ceramic design through film technology, through animation, photography. We've got a very wide range of design-oriented courses with appropriate facilities for that on campus in Staffordshire in the UK.
Alright, that's great. In your opinion, what are the outstanding factors that SU have in the program?
Well, we've got lecturers who have all worked in the sector. My background was in the television industry first of all. I did costume design in television, and all my colleagues have had relevant industry experience, and a lot of them are still practicing. So that means that when they're working with students, they are able not only to teach them what is appropriate for the sector in terms of professional expectations, but they've maintained their contacts with people in the sector. And the creative industries relies very heavily on who you know and knowing what's happening now. And all our students are exposed to that through their tutors and their tutor contacts. So what makes it special for our students is they have real industry engagements in a variety of ways. So we don't expect students to have the traditional work placements because that's not the way the sector works, but they're all guaranteed work experience, which means that they are able to engage in real life briefs, they meet industry professionals, they are, for example, pitching their ideas to industry professionals who will give them feedback. So that means that they'll have a training and an education that is very similar to the circumstances that they find themselves in when they are working. And so it's a rounded experience. It isn't just about the knowledge, it's about working in the sector, and they will learn the skills that are relevant to the particular area that they're studying.
We can conclude it as a holistic approach.
That's absolutely
hands-on
right,
and
yes.
theories and all.
It is,
That's great.
it is.
That sounds very great. Alright, as per your experience, how is the job employability of SU design program?
Well, because our students are, we call it future-proofing. We show students how to look for employment and how to be flexible, because the creative areas tend to be small businesses, some of them are larger businesses, but they are sometimes serial employment, which means that you're working on projects. Some people are self-employed, sometimes they have portfolio employment, so they might be a mix of employment opportunities that makes up their career. And our students are taught how to manage that so that their expectations are appropriate and they can look and market themselves and network themselves in order to be resilient to working in that sector, and the results are very good. And because we engage with industry professionals, they are helping us give briefs to the students that are the kinds of things that they're doing in their industry, and therefore they're at the same time as doing that, they're looking for the talent. And so our students tend to get jobs through the contacts that they've got, and it makes them very confident. One of the things all our students have to do is present their ideas, working in teams, pitch their ideas, thoroughly researched, and in doing that, that rehearses the way that they will need to work when they're looking for employment. So they will know how to seek employment, how to change employment, and how to be looking for the next opportunity all the time. And the usual people that we have on these courses enjoy that kind of experience.
All right, so we can conclude that having good grades in academics as well as the exposure that they have faced during their studies will help them to get employability out there.
Yes, not just now, but future. Because the thing about what students are learning now, and especially in the technological areas, in the software and in film and the different areas that are embracing technologies, the internet and that sort of thing, is we don't actually know what they'll be doing in 5 years' time. Exactly. We don't know the technology that will be there. So what we're doing is helping them learn how to problem solve, how to look for ideas, how to research properly, so that whatever is the next thing, they'll be up for it and they'll be ahead of us. They teach us a lot as well.
They'll be the teacher in future.
That's right, that's right. We do get, all our technicians
That's great.
have graduated from our courses. So
That's excellent.
they are very good, yes.
All right, we understand that nowadays people emphasize on aesthetic factors more than before. How does this impact the design industry?
Sorry, how did they...
The aesthetic factors.
The aesthetic factor, how does that impact? Yes, you're right. I think that it used to be that people didn't understand the values of design. They wanted good design, but they took it for granted.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes parents didn't used to understand what it meant for a student to study a vocational or a design-oriented subject, and they felt that that wasn't relevant. But at the same time, they were buying nice clothes and driving a car that was very attractive.
Nice handbags.
Yes,
and shoes.
exactly. And so people are starting to recognise that those high values in the design of things are very important. So that aesthetic requirement is something that we help students to understand that they have to build into the work that they're doing. So whether they are working in a design agency or designing a film or something for a consumer, how it looks, how it will work, and how it feels in relation to the target audience are all things that they will have to understand. And it's a way of life now, and we think that's wonderful that it's not something that sits outside education, it is part of education. And so the aesthetic values are something that we recognise as being intrinsic to the courses that they're studying.
So does that mean that for those who wants to study design program, they have to be very creative, or can they be a plain students or normal humans, but then without any zero knowledge on designs and arts? Or they do have to have this?
It's a combination. It depends what they decide to do. For example, if you're studying advertising and brand management, some people come from a marketing background because they understand the commercial side of how to present and how to manage a brand, and that is what they've come to that for. But perhaps they want to be a bit more creative. Alongside them on the same course, you'll find somebody who's very creative who doesn't have the marketing experience.
True.
And they learn from each other. So it's very important that those students are put together because that's where the new ideas come from. So there's a spectrum of students. What we find is students who haven't necessarily got the arts background, I know they can come here and they can study a preparatory course so that they can get those skills to put a portfolio together. They can get guidance from tutors as to what's expected if they are going to apply to a course. And depending on the students, if they're motivated enough, they can overcome the fact that they've done courses that didn't relate to the design areas in the past. But what you tend to find is students, even if they haven't studied design, are very motivated by that because it's a compulsion. It's something they want to do. Yes, it's in their nature to be buying nice things, to be watching films that are aesthetically high production values, and to be aware of what looks good and how to make that happen. And they will be compulsive sketchers as well. So you find they doodle or they're doing that sort of thing anyway.
Can we see a better future of the industry?
Yes, I think so. In the UK, the creative industries are the biggest growth area. Now, what's been difficult to evaluate is the number of people working in the sector, because they can be from very small businesses to people who are working for a large organisation in a design capacity, and they disappear into the organisation. But the statistics are starting to be collected now, and it is recognised as the biggest growth area. And that is starting to happen internationally, because countries are recognising that the workforce needs to be skilled in those areas because you're applying design in whatever you're doing, and to be ahead of the world, you've got to have people educated in how to apply that.
So it's globally, it's not only in UK or certain European countries, so it's globally.
No, it's happening globally now,
right.
Definitely. It's a big growth area. 30 years ago it was IT, now it's design.
There's a trend. So do you think this trend will last long for another 5 to 10 years time?
It'll last longer than that.
Longer than that, that's great.
It will grow and it will change. There is a real future there. Yes.
Alright, great. Okay, as a lecturer of the design program in SU, what do you think are the preparations needed to be done prior to studying in the degree programs?
To be widely knowledgeable of what's going on in the sector you're interested in, to become aware, to expose yourself to opportunities to, for example, visit exhibitions, to read books, to talk to people who are working in the sector, so that you start to become knowledgeable. And then when you come applying to go on a course, you've got something to talk about, and it shows that you're interested, because we need to know the students motivated, not just by them saying, yes, we'd like to do it, but if they could talk about things that they've investigated already, then obviously it's evidence that they are looking already, and that informs the kind of work that they do. So that's one thing they can do. If they have a portfolio of work, that's helpful. It's not always necessary, but if they've started to collect information, and that might be photography, it might be flyers from events they've been involved in or visited, it might be a sketchbook of things that they've done. All that kind of information will help support any application and get them thinking about the kind of course. And they should investigate the course as well, you know, and see what it's about, so that they come with the right kind of questions, because when you're applying to a course, it's not just about whether a student is appropriate for the course, it's about whether the course is appropriate for the student. Because what we don't want is a student to come onto a course and then say, well, it's not what I thought it was going to be and I'm not enjoying it. It's a two-way process, and we want students to be successful, so they need to know what questions to ask. And so that we can find out whether it's right or not, and they can come in fully informed.
Alright, great. So one last question before we end. You know, there are some parents out there who have these negative mindeds on design and arts programs. They said that there's no future, what you're going to be out there in the long term. What kind of advice would you like to give to the parents out there on this?
Well, that's something that happened in the UK, and still to a very small extent still happens, particularly in families when they've no prior experience of creativity. They are nervous, and we all want our children to be happy and successful and financially independent. The future is in design, and the way that the courses are designed helps students be very conscious right from the start of how they're going to be employed and how they're going to be successful. So we are very conscious that we have to make sure that that happens. Our courses wouldn't work if students weren't employable afterwards, so that's very important to us. But the other thing is, I've seen so many students who, because of their parents' preferences, studied something that their heart wasn't in. They didn't do it very well. They got demoralised by it. And I've taught a lot of mature students who, when they've had the opportunity, have come back to do the subject that they really wanted to do in the first place. And they've blossomed, and they're happy, and they're successful, and they're making money out of it. So yes, that's what we want. So I think they have to trust, do the research, find out what the opportunities are, but trust that the employment is available. And actually, students studying now here are at the forefront, so they're in a fantastic position because they're going to be ahead of the competition. And they're not competing with thousands of students who've got similar qualifications, so yeah, they'll be in a good position.
Bring their names globally as well.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Okay, that's great. So thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Have a good day.
Thank you, and same to you.